You are listening to part 1 of episode 25 of the Psychotherapist podcast. I am your host, Malcolm Clancy, and as always, I will be speaking with my co-host, the greatest licensed psychotherapist in all the land, Dr. Bob. In part 1 of this episode, Dr. Bob and I discuss family anxiety. Let's just say, over my sister's wedding coming up, I get attacked by orcs live on the show. And we wrap up part 1 of this episode discussing how if my family was a caste system, I would be an untouchable. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're all about promoting positivity, mental health, and love, and joy, and peace, and blessings to all the land. This is the Psychotherapist podcast. Thank you for listening. Yeah, so are you ready to go?
I am.
Hello, we fuck up from the jump. I love it. Let's start over. We'll take care of that post. Welcome everyone to the podcast. Malcolm Clancy here. We were off mic with Dr. Bob for a good minute talking about some other issue, but now we're here. We're ready to get after it. Sir Bob, do you have anything you'd like to open with? Do you got that Tibetan bowl?
I'm going to give us a little start with the Tibetan singing bowl, okay?
Word.
And you sound a little fuzzy to me from your end, but let me bring us in a good morning, okay?
Let's do it. Wonderful.
And as we trail off with the sounds of the Tibetan singing bowl, let us commence.
And I forgot my steel rod, so fuck it, I'll put it in post. Hello, hello everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the podcast. We love to have you here. We have 4 agenda items for today that we're going to get into. Number 1, there's a wedding coming up, exciting. Number 2, Bob has some feedback on his long hauler COVID experience. Number 3, I am taking a journey to Mount Doom, the heart of the belly of the beast, Washington, D.C., the imperial capital soon. And, yeah, I think that's it. So, do you want to just start off with the wedding real quick?
Yeah, let's go. I think that, for people to understand that this podcast is a little different. It is live, it is interactive, there's not a lot of preparation or rehearsal, and we try to hit upon, personal issues, mostly as they affect you and the client-therapist relationship, and real issues that are going on around us, as well as just some topical kinds of things that crop up from week to week. So, it's interesting to know what's going on in your life for starters. So, shoot, let's start with the wedding.
I think life is going to be much better when it's over.
When the wedding is over.
That's all I'm waiting for. That's all we're counting down for, Bob. My sister Hermione has been engaged to my brother-in-law Harry for almost 2 years now, I want to say. So they, I think, very much feel like, and I bet a lot of couples feel this way, where it's like the longer there's a delay between the engagement and wedding, the more it's kind of just like they've gotten used to the idea, the novelty kind of wears off, and the bills stack up, and the stress piles on, and they're like, let's just please get this fucking thing over with.
Right, and this is kind of an anticlimactic event, isn't it? Really?
How so?
Like they've been together for so long. The wedding in and of itself is kind of like an anticlimax, really.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. It's not like they've been together 10, 20, fucking something crazy. Are you saying you need to be married for 2 weeks to have an exciting wedding, Bob? Oh, great. Interruption number 1.
I just have to get my shoes.
Okay. Let us be interrupted.
Yanni says hi.
Okay.
Yeah, you better call him.
Who am I saying hi to?
a bunch of monsters that deserve to be slain and thrown back into the pits they spawned from, Bob.
Okay.
That's who.
The yeah, can we talk? Are we still off mic or are we on?
No,
mic
no,
here?
we're good now. They left.
Okay. I have requests from both your mother and sister to have sessions with me this week prior to the wedding, and that's how intense this event has been for all of you. Not you, but for them, because the focus was mostly on the wedding and getting over this and their anxiety. So that was the capsule within which my conversations occurred with them, and I think they were very successful. And one pointed piece was to go over the anxiety level that your sister was experiencing about giving a toast, and was it that important? And your mother was very
Which sister had to give a toast? That's complaining.
Well, you've got two, and one is getting married, so not her.
Buchenwald?
The other one. Okay?
Buchenwald?
Yes.
Yes.
So, to relieve her anxiety and save her from having a panic attack, I had discussed with your mother, how this is, in the overall course of events, this is not that critical. So I believe she went along with that. So I think your sister's off the hook. And she feels quite relieved in terms of the anxiety level dropping considerably. Can
we stop on that for a second? Because it kind of ties in a little with the DC trip.
Okay.
I feel like Buchenwald's a very interesting case study in the sense that in a way she, on the one hand, comes off as like the abusive end of the spectrum of like millennial mental health, in the sense of, I have anxiety. I can't. Taking the groceries out of the trunk gives me anxiety. Helping with anything gives me anxiety. Driving to the ice cream place to get ice cream for everyone gives me anxiety, but driving for it to give myself, not doing that, gives me anxiety. You know what I mean? Where I feel like it's really like it's so odd how things have gone so inversed, where I feel like went from mental health, come on man the fuck up, to just like I didn't get the right sized coffee at Starbucks. I'm oppressed. You don't understand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like that hysterical spectrum, and then on the other hand, I'm just like, but what if we had a Freaky Friday situation and I was given her nerves or whatever the fuck is going on with her, and like I just imagine what if just like everything is terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, literally, everything is actually fucking terrifying. I don't know. What do you make of that?
You mean, if you saw life as terrifying, in terms of anxiety level being at the top, the top of the charts?
Yes.
Okay, well, I think a good way to answer that is, in reading the new book that I was talking about, this guy's perspective on anxiety is that he begins by saying everyone has anxiety.
Yes.
Let's just start with that premise. We all have anxiety. There's a question, though. I mean, how severe is the anxiety, and how debilitating is it? And those are two big questions. And that's why I always use the cognitive behavioral rating scales, because they give me a perspective on someone's level of anxiety, so that I can try to bring them down from catastrophic thinking to, maybe a mild level, to a mild, or from a high level of anxiety to a mild level of anxiety. Because for some people, everything is catastrophic. Opening the trunk and getting the groceries out is catastrophic. Not doing that is catastrophic. And that's
it causes a lot of problems.
No, sure. the modulation.
When
of
you
your internal
refuse
system.
to do everything, and that's why we have to drive to DC, because Yanni and I have to journey across this dangerous Biden America to drop her car off at DC. It's madness to me.
So that's the premise of your trip to DC, is you have to take her car there.
Yes.
And is she going with you?
Nope.
Okay. So you drive her car to DC, but she doesn't go. How does she get to DC? By plane?
I'm gonna guess by train, because planes give her anxiety.
Okay. So why didn't she just drive down with you?
I guess you gotta understand, my just very existence has always offended her from day one. You know, you just have to imagine, like, the most unlikable, someone you really cannot fucking stand. Just even being near them, they just fucking smell bad, and they're evil, and they only have malicious intent. They're basically fucking orc people. That's kind of how Buchenwald has always viewed me. I'm kind of a lowly, dirty, uncouth, inarticulate peasant. She is someone who is always, I swear to God, in every previous life she ever had, every incarnation, she either owned slaves or she felt entitled to own slaves.
Okay, and by the same token, in the Indian caste system, you would be an untouchable, right?
I'm in every carnation, I am just a little evil goblin person.
Okay.
That eats babies.
Okay, hold on.
And is a white supremacist. And a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, in India's caste system, however, the people who are the lowest of the low, the slugs of the earth, aren't they referred to as the untouchables?
I believe so.
Okay.
And there are other, I believe, like, feudal Japan had a caste system where they had, like, an untouchables, like, that weren't even considered I don't know, I'm maybe conflating it with something else, but I bet a lot of civilizations had some level of fucking caste system. I mean, Roman society, I mean, if you were a slave, you were a fucking slave. You were reminded every day.
Yes. We're going to get off on a million tangents here, but I do these little readings in the morning as part of my morning routine, along with the meditation and quieting of the mind. I always do a brief reading. I pick up these little Bible-oriented booklets from the church next to me.